episode here to share more stories about homeownership and the journey to buying a home. While everyone is joining, we're going to talk a little bit about our guests here. So we have very special guests, Ashley and Sam Case. Actually, both went to Rowan, and we were at the same time. We were at Rowan. Me and Ashley were in many classes and clubs together, doing like TV, film, and maybe a little bit of journalism.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
fun times. And now you're an adult, own a house, have
Yes,
kids,
many years have gone by.
all these things. Yes, a totally different lifestyle. So
Yeah,
thank you for being here. Thank you
of
both
course.
for being here.
Thanks
Um,
for
of course. So you guys, you guys bought your house in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, March of 2021. So this was actually like exactly a year after everybody was quarantined for
Yeah,
COVID, to put it in perspective.
and to put it in perspective, we actually started our search like during the quarantine, so it took like over a year from the start of our search to buying the house. So we were looking for a long, long time.
Whoa.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got to get into this. Okay. So we'll get to that part. The timeline, because that's a big deal. Different for everybody. But first, tell people what is your favorite part about your guys' house. You can each answer. Your favorite part.
So we actually live in a townhouse, but my favorite part about it is it feels like a home. Like it has a full finished basement, which is my favorite part. The layout is very spacious. It's kind of like an open layout, so it doesn't feel like an apartment. It feels more like a home, and that's what I love about it.
Nice.
How about you?
Yeah, I mean, same thing. I feel like we had to do a little work to it in the beginning, like new carpets and stuff like that. So I feel like it feels pretty new, and we got to make it how we wanted it. So I think just the overall feeling, like Ashley was saying, I like.
Mm-hmm.
That's nice when you don't have to do too much work, but just enough that makes it custom.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
we might have been able to do a little extra because we went with a townhouse versus like if we got a house, we might not have been able to make it head to toe exactly what we wanted.
Okay, that's a good point. Now you have like connected neighbors, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Townhouse. Okay. But finished basement, garage.
No garage.
Okay. But nice. Finished basement. The basement is good.
Yeah.
Added
A
bonus.
large one too. It kind of like it's the size of our whole upstairs, the span of our whole upstairs. So it's like a whole nother living space down there.
Very nice. What do you use the basement for? Just like a
Dual, like a gym and a playroom.
nice.
Yes.
That's like one of my goals in life, have a gym in my house.
Yeah, it's nice.
I hate going out to the gym. I don't like gyms. So I just need to have it in my house.
Yeah. All I really need is a treadmill and I'm good.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Nice. So no man cave for some.
No, the kids take up that spot.
Okay, it's a kid's cave now.
Yeah, yep, exactly.
Very nice. All right. So I know you guys didn't have to find and choose a realtor to work with. So how did that process work?
Yeah. Do you remember how we ended up not using realtor?
It had just been, it was a long process buying a house. We had been looking for like over a year, and I think we were working or talking to a couple people in the beginning, and then we just got frustrated because of all the like overbidding that we had to do, and so we just took a long break, like I don't know, like 6 months, and then when we came back, we decided we're just gonna go out on our own and then see what happens. And that way we didn't have any pressure to put in, super high bids if we didn't want to and feel like, the realtor was, doing all the extra work when we might not get the house. So that's kind of the background on that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
I wouldn't say that we were necessarily wasting the realtor's time. It's just that we were felt so defeated because we put in so many offers on houses and we kept getting outbid that we just felt bad for the realtors because we were looking for over a year and we weren't winning any. So we just said, we'll take a break. And then yeah, like Sam said, we kind of reached out to houses as they came up individually here and there on our own.
All right. So you were just searching, you were just putting all the criteria yourself, like in Zillow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's
Zillow,
right.
looking for the house. And then how were you just calling directly to like representing yourselves?
Yes, because we had looked for so long that we kind of learned a lot about it and we felt like we were confident enough to just reach out to the listing agent and working directly with them. Yeah, and so that's how we landed on this house as we worked with the listing agent. Yeah.
Okay. So I see. So now, when you had a house you wanted to make an offer on, did you just kind of like go for pick a price, or did you offer like exactly what they were asking, or how did you really know what to negotiate?
We definitely had to feel out what the vibe was at the time we were looking, and at the time we were looking, it's like it was everyone was overbidding, so we knew right off the bat that we had to at least bid 10,000 over. What was it?
Yeah,
Was that about it?
Yeah, it just depended on what the house price, I guess, was.
Yeah.
We usually bid a little bit over, but it had to be within our comfort level, I guess. Um, so yeah, it varied by house. If it was a newer house or it was really well done, maybe we might bid higher. Or if something needed work, we'd still bid a little bit over, but not as much. So it just varied depending on the house and the condition and the price.
Okay. And then when it came time to contract, who wrote up that contract for you?
The listing agent now?
Yeah, so usually if what would happen is we put in a couple offers when we were doing it alone, and either the listing agent would write up the contract, or the listing agent would, to be more impartial, the listing agent would reach out to someone else that they worked with on their team to represent us on the contract. So it was less or more like less impartial, or
Yeah.
conflict of interest, no conflict of interest.
No. Okay. Yeah, right, because they were representing the seller.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Mhm.
Okay. All right. So then that ended up happening. You go under contract. Now, at this moment, were you already working? You were already pre-approved, I would assume.
Yeah.
Yeah, for a while, yeah. Mhm.
Okay. So were you going back and forth and seeing if you could afford to offer this much, like what that monthly payment was going to look like and how much you were going to have to bring to closing?
No, because in the beginning when we got the pre-approval, we got it for, I guess, more than the range that we were going for. And so that way we weren't so we went for houses that were a decent amount below what we were pre-approved for, just so that we weren't worried every time, are we going to have to go get a new pre-approval because it's so close. So that made that process a little bit easier, I would say.
Nice. You're very savvy. This was your first time buying a house, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we also we definitely were looking for more affordable houses just in case. We just didn't want to be house poor too, Like we were having young kids at the time. Like I was pregnant with our first son at the time, and just in case I ever wanted to leave my job, which I ended up doing, we wanted to be able to afford it on one income if we ever needed to do that.
Very good. Okay, that's excellent. And yeah, just a note for people listening, like when you get pre-approved, that often that happens because the pre-approval process, you're looking at, maybe both of your incomes. You could compare one or the other, but we're looking at the gross income. So before taxes are taken out, before your 401k is taken out, any other deductions. So it's a lot different than like what the paycheck is you take home every month,
Mm-hmm.
your net paycheck. So you're looking at your bank account and like, you know, what's going to be, and you know how many Netflix and Hulu subscriptions you have and what you other things you have to pay for, how often you go out to eat or whatever. So it's really up to you to kind of like lock down that comfortable payment every month for yourself.
Right.
Nice. Oh, shoot. It froze?
Seems good on our end.
Oh, no, we're good.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It gave me some alert that it was like connection bad or something. The internet, you never know. One time we had to like get off and get back on. That's a new live stream because the internet.
Oh, geez.
Okay, so I think I'll know the answer to this question, but we'll see. What was one of the most difficult parts of the process for you guys?
Just the competition, like other people also looking, which we might, like I said, we're in a townhouse and we didn't get the house that we wanted at the time. We do want a house eventually, so we might even start looking this summer again. But like when you look in the spring and summer, it's like the busy time. There's a lot of other people looking, and that's just the hardest part, in my opinion. What's your hardest part?
Yeah, I would agree. And especially when you're bidding for houses, it's a little bit of a black box, I guess. You know, they ask for the highest and best offer. You know, you don't know if other people are bidding 10,000 over or 50,000 over. So, you know, so you have to put in an offer you're comfortable with, but also, you know, one that you think could possibly win. So, yeah, it's kind of the hardest part, I think.
Okay. And you were at like an especially highly competitive time in the market, but it might be just as similar this time around this spring, summer, because you know, we were just experiencing rates in the 8s and now hopefully they'll be down by the 5s. So it's the same thing. Like people, if this was different because this was COVID, so that was a little crazy, but now, you know, people are waiting. So people are waiting until that perfect time, rates come down to the perfect place. But everybody's thinking the same thing. So
Yeah.
they're all going to come back out again at the same time.
Yes, totally.
And so like, yeah, like you said it best, I think, Ashley. You just felt defeated
Totally, yeah.
after like how many offers were you putting in over the course of what, like 6 months? 3 6 months?
Like a year and a half or 2 years. How long were we looking?
Well, it was probably about a year.
A year. How many offers? I think we actually counted at one time. Do you remember that number?
It was probably like 25 or so.
25. Yeah.
It's a lot.
Time I would write a really heartfelt letter to submit with it. It was so defeating, like lots of tears, but I almost felt like I don't know, everything happens for a reason. It just wasn't the right time. We do like where we're at now, so when the moment's right, it'll happen. So hopefully it's a summer. If not, it'll be another time in the future.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a good advice. And man, that's a lot of letters. You have 25 letters. But yeah. Do you think that worked for when you finally got your offer accepted? You wrote a handwritten letter to the seller?
It really does work. I recommend people do that because each offer we did submit, we heard back from the seller pretty immediately, and almost all of them said that they wanted to choose us to buy the house if we could match this price, and they told us what the highest bidder offered, which was nice. But like a lot of times we couldn't match that because it was outrageous and it was like a cash offer, waived inspections. So we couldn't ever match that. But they did say that they cared about who bought their home and they really wanted us to have it. So I think it's worth getting or writing a letter. Could make the difference.
Yeah, because they don't have to give you that extra like insider information. So that's great that they did. They really, it must have made an impact on them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. What about fees that you didn't expect?
I think we prepared ourselves for the fees. I think we knew like inspection and things like that and closing costs, right? We expected that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, like I'm sure you know, that there's a lot of fees, but we kind of, you know, took a lot of time in the beginning up front to kind of figure out what they would be. So I think we had a pretty good understanding of, what they were. And so I think we felt pretty comfortable in the process.
Okay, that's good. Is there anything in particular that you wish you had asked a professional like working with you, or asked or like talked about sooner more upfront in the process that kind of came up later on?
I have an answer and you can share your answer. But the one of the things that I feel like came up for us along this process that we made sure to ask up front a couple more times. One time, well, we were looking in Moorestown pretty heavily at one point, and it's kind of like an older town. And we made an offer. The offer got accepted for this one house, but it ended up having an oil tank in the backyard, which is like this underground oil tank that they would need to excavate, and it would be all this money. But we only found that out after we got the house inspected. And so we didn't want to spend all that money. It would like they'd have to go into the neighbors' yards and everything like that. And I think those are pretty common in that town. So so that ended up falling through because of that. Because the seller didn't disclose that it was back there, although she knew it was back there. We made sure to always ask up front when we saw a house in that town that we liked. Also, another situation that arose was, I think, smoking. I always made sure to ask if the seller like smoked inside the home, because it's something that came up when we found a house we really liked. And I think when we got it, we made an offer. The offer was accepted, and then when the inspector found some like consequences in like the vents from like smoking in the house, that became an issue. And so that opportunity fell through because I was pregnant at the time, and for safety reasons we weren't comfortable with moving forward with that. And that's something like if I just asked right from the beginning, we could have avoided all of that inspection and all that, like the hope of moving into the house. So things like that have popped up that I always made sure to ask from there forward, from the beginning.
Very good. Like take the lesson, learn from it, and yeah, because you don't get that money back from you pay up for the inspection.
Yeah.
Can't get that money back.
Yeah, I guess so. Just like ask yourself those random things, like what could go wrong, and like try and be creative in thinking that, or maybe do some Googling and maybe have your list of obscure questions, and don't be embarrassed to ask right up front.
That's 100%. Yeah. Don't be embarrassed about anything. Nothing's a stupid question. And someone else I talked to recently said they would always try to mention that was their first time buying, they've never done this before. So kind of like preface that so that people would explain things more in depth to them when they ask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really cool.
I will say, it's obviously fine how you guys did it. Everyone can do it how they want. Probably real estate agents can help in those particular situations, only because and that's actually a reason why you want a real estate agent that's like local to the area you want to buy too, or knows the area, because they might know like, I've had a lot of clients in this, like oil tanks are popular in this area, because otherwise how the heck, it's underground, like how the heck would we know as regular people that's a thing in that area?
That's so true. Yeah. And when we were working with some of the listing agents, a lot of them would say like, we specialize in realty in this town. Like, are you interested in a Moorestown house? Like, this is our area of specialty, and so, yeah, we will definitely keep that in mind for next time.
Yeah, that's good. Like, because every town has their own unique like things like that.
Yeah.
Nice. My dad just had one of those oil tanks removed.
Oh, yeah?
It was in his house since he bought it in the 90s.
Oh.
But he like recently, I guess in this is like Mercer County, New Jersey, I guess they recently said you have to get them out.
Oh, geez.
So he had to do that. He had to pay that, to get it removed and filled or whatever.
Yeah.
Such an interesting thing, but yeah, it's how they used to heat the homes before, way back when. All right. So actually, let's go back to before I even ask this next question, let's go back to your timeline, because that is crazy. 1 year. So it was like maybe March of 2020-ish that you started thinking like, okay, We can't go to the office. Like, we are quarantined. Can't go out anywhere. Let's buy a house. That kind of the thought process.
Yeah. Well, we had just gotten married. It was like, so I was living with my mom and he was living on his own. And then we got married and came together and we had no place to live. So we just lived with family because we had the idea that we would just buy a house right after the wedding. So we told his aunt, can we live in your house? She had a house that was empty. No one was living in it. And we said, can we live here for 2 months in the area while we look for a house and like, we'll buy a house and move out. And it turned into a year that we were there because we got caught in that. So it was really unlucky. So it was a really frustrating year because I was so adamant that we were going to buy a house that I never unpacked my stuff out of the suitcases for like 6 months. I was like, we're like gonna find a house really soon.
Right.
So that's how it happened.
Oh, shoot. And then Sam's aunt is like, it's been 2 months. It's been 5 months. It's been 6 months. Like, when are you guys leaving?
No, she was really nice. Thank goodness.
Okay. Nice. So, all right. So give people like a high level overview. So it's March 2020. You kind of start to look at homes. What's the next like time frame? So when do you get pre-approved? When do you start putting in an offer? And then when you got accepted, how long did it take until you like got the keys?
Do you remember when we got pre-approved versus when we started looking? Pretty quickly, right? It happened pretty quickly.
Yeah, I guess we got pre-approved right in the beginning of March, I guess. And then yeah, we were looking for a few, right, there was 2 main stages. We looked for a few months starting in March. We put in a bunch of offers. None were working out. The market was real competitive, so we kind of stopped for a bit. And then when we started,
did it take long to get approved? It only took like a couple weeks, right?
to get approved. Oh, I don't know. It's like a good day, isn't it?
Oh, really? Okay, so it only took a day.
It's like, I don't know, it's pretty quick.
That's pretty quick. Once you get them, your documents and all.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You get to submit the documents and stuff. So yeah, sometimes it depends on how quick their side, I guess. You know, if you turn in your documents quickly, some companies are faster than others, I guess, or banks.
Yeah.
I think it was pretty quick, a couple days, maybe a week.
Did you go to like the bank who you bank with, then did you try a couple different people out, or did you just have like someone you knew?
I think we did.
You had just started working at TD at the time.
Yeah, we went to a bank, and then we went to like an online company too, but we ended up going with the bank because.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Online is super easy.
Yeah.
Digital, don't even have to talk to anybody, probably.
Yeah. Super cool. Yeah.
Nice. All right. So then you took a pause, and then when you started looking again, you're more aggressive, kind of like, all right, we're putting these offers. You finally get one. They help you put the contract together. And then how long was that until you actually got the house?
Jeez, I don't remember. Do you remember?
Like 30 to 45 days,
Okay.
I think. I think what they usually aim for like 30 days on the contract. I guess it depends on how fast people want to move out.
Right.
But like 30 or 60 days. So I'd say the whole like from contract to going through all the paperwork the bank had to do to actually like fully approve you and get the mortgage going. I think it was like 30 days.
Nice.
And then I moved in, I don't know, a few days later. So
Nice.
it was relatively quick.
And what were some of those other things that happened? Like you said, you mentioned inspection. What else before you actually could like sign at closing?
I don't
It's
know.
kind of like a blur. I just kind of like to test people.
I think
See if they remember.
Yeah, no, I think there's the main one is the inspection.
Okay.
The only other thing I remember other than that is like the day before just walkthrough. So like after the seller moves out, you come in the day before, like you're supposed to like actually officially close on everything and move in, just to go through and make sure like they didn't punch a hole in the wall or like burn the kitchen down or something. Make sure it looks fine, and then after that, like the next day, you go and sign and get the key. There's
But
probably other stuff in between there. I just don't remember.
how about also when you got the inspection done, I'm sure you asked for some things to be fixed, or was that not on the table?
We asked for a couple minor things. Or was that this house? There were so many houses.
No, in some of the other situations we did ask. In this one we didn't. It was more of a.
Oh, this was an as is.
It wasn't officially an as is, but it was like.
You waived your right to request things from inspection.
Yes.
We didn't waive it.
No, we didn't.
But they were basically like someone had passed away.
Yeah.
And so it was a family member that was selling it, and they were very nice, but they just weren't. They kind of just were ready to kind of move on. They didn't want to do the work, and we knew that, so we didn't specifically ask it in this situation.
Okay, all right, that's good. But you knew that you went through with the inspector. They gave you a report. You knew everything, like how the appliances were, what age they were. Make sure everything's like in working condition.
Yes.
Yeah, just to make sure there wasn't like a $50,000, thing, or like the ceiling was about to fall in or something like that. Just to be, stuff like that.
Okay, nice. And then appraisal happens too, so tells you the value of the home. Do you remember? Did it come in like right at value? Did it was a little over?
I guess it came in normal, so
yeah,
nothing that was concerning. It was probably. I don't remember exactly, but it was within the appropriate range of what we paid for it, I guess. So,
which was, I think, rare at that time. I think most things were really higher than what they were. I don't know, being valued way higher than they normally would.
Yeah. Well, or maybe the opposite. Like people, the value was coming in like normal, but people were still paying more.
Yes.
Overpaying. So the value is what it is, but they were choosing to pay a lot more. So
yeah.
Ideally you want the perfect situation where you pay $320,000 for your house, but the appraisal comes back at $350,000. Then you're like, whoa, I got $30,000 of equity.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, cool. All right, so easy last question. What are your plans for the next 5 years now that you are homeowners?
So I think our plan, if everything goes to plan, is to rent this place out and keep it and buy a house.
Love it.
Yeah.
So become landlords.
Nearby. Yeah, and we'll be landlords.
Nice. Would you consider using some of this equity for the down payment on the next home?
Would we?
Possibly. I guess it just depends on what the prices look like. If everything's still the way it is now, I think the plan is we'd probably just rent this one and keep it, and therefore we'd get the down payment somewhere else for like the next house. But I guess if we do sell it, then yeah, we'd use the money towards the down payment on the next house. But still,
well, you can still get the equity out without selling it.
Yeah, I think it would just be tough because unless the interest rate goes down a lot, we'd probably be like, if we were to refinance, it'd be at what, like 6%, maybe 5% if it went down.
Yeah. But what's your rate you got?
I think it was like 2.875. So not at the bottom, but it was pretty close, I think.
That's pretty low. That we'll never see it again. So don't ever change. Keep it forever.
Yeah.
That's good. That's great. Yeah, I love people to talk about their next steps, because a lot of times people get scared of buying a home because they feel like they're locked into it forever. They're like, I don't know if I want to live here forever. And it's like, you don't have to live there forever. You can easily move and get someone else to pay your mortgage for you.
Yeah, we completely kept that in mind. I mean, this was not our first choice, but it took convincing ourselves, a little pep talk, like, we're not going to be here forever. This is great for like 5 years, and then we can always go somewhere else. Like, nothing is permanent if you don't want it to be.
Yes. Love it. Okay, last question. Why is homeownership important to you?
Good question. I think it's just it just feels good to not have to pay somebody else's mortgage when you're renting, you know? What would you say?
Yeah, for me, it's just the ability to customize it.
The freedom, yeah.
Like if you want to change the carpets, and you have the financial means to do it, then you can. If you want to, you know, if you don't like the appliances in your kitchen, you can just change them. Whereas like if you're renting, you're not really supposed to do that.
Yeah, you're right.
So I think that's more for me. Like that's my thing about home ownership. It's just the freedom to within your means be able to change, what's in your house, things like that.
Yeah, I think it opens some more doors too. Like if it's yours, you could let families stay here for a week if you want to, and if when you're out of town versus like if it's not your place, you might not be able to do that because there's rules in place.
Yes, very good. So freedom, flexibility, great things. Kind of like stress-free. Just do what you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it. Awesome. Okay, final thoughts to give to people that are listening. Maybe they've never bought a home, maybe they are thinking like you guys about buying the next home. Any words of wisdom or advice or final thoughts?
I have a unique piece of advice. Be familiar. One of the hard things we ran into was like knowing what neighborhoods are good, and that's where a realtor would come into is like we care about not just the house but the location, like liking the neighborhood and the surrounding neighborhoods and the town. So towns have a lot of neighborhoods in them, and when you aren't familiar with them, sometimes it takes a lot of work to like you see a house listed that you might be interested in and the house looks nice, but we actually took the time for any house we were interested in to like drive to that neighborhood and look around, and it takes a lot of time out of your day to do that research. So like just becoming familiar with the towns you want to live and the areas within there, and just like have that list of your favorites, and so whenever a house pops up in that favorite area, you know already. So that's my tip.
Good stuff. Yeah,
Yep.
like the grocery shop, the grocery stores you would go to, the gyms, the parks, like whatever is important to you.
Yes. Yeah.
Sam?
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. I guess for me, final thoughts.
No, it's okay. You don't have to, no pressure.
Yeah. Well, I guess more so towards if you're buying your first house, especially in this market, I think it's like you can go into it. It can be hard, and a long process, and I guess that's normal. I don't know if it'll take you a year, like it did for us. Maybe it will. Maybe it'll take longer. Maybe it'll be much shorter. I think it just, depends on where you live and, what prices are like. But yeah, it's not always an easy, straightforward process. And then that's normal, I think. So that'd be my kind of closing thought.
I love it. To be like you guys said, you were mindful of stuff. Like you knew the fees associated with it. You were kind of prepared. I mean, maybe you weren't that prepared for the whole year of ups and downs, but yeah, just like understand that it's okay, that it might not be a super comfortable thing because you've never gone through it before. So
Yeah, actually, in the beginning, I romanticized it so much. I'm like, we're gonna buy our first house. Like, let's go shopping for a house. I was like on cloud nine looking at all these houses. And then I got to a point where I'm like, this is hard work and I actually hate it. And I have a little bit of PTSD from that experience that, like, the next time we look for a house, I'm not as excited about it. But work with someone who you're comfortable with, do your research, and like be prepared with knowing that it can be challenging, but if you're prepared, it won't be as challenging.
that's good. Yeah. And you won't be like romanticizing anymore because you're like, I know what's going on.
Yeah.
I just want to, I want to make sure the numbers work for me and the house is in a good location. I like the house. It fits our needs, our family now,
Yeah.
priorities change, things change.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. Appreciate it. Anyone who was tuning in late or if you are watching this on the replay, you can always drop questions or thoughts in the comments for Ashley and Sam. And also we'll tag you guys so, people can reach out to you as well. But yeah, thank you so much for being here and for sharing your story and taking the time.
Yeah, thank you, Nicole. So great to talk with you.
Yeah, thank you.
You too.